It's Sports Day all over again, ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate the return of the actual Kivoto's Halo Festival, with its second part, the Get Set Go event, which is actually one of my favorite events since in my opinion, the story is really good, and if you haven't experienced this event, do yourself a favor and read through the story. With it, we are also getting the rerun of two limited banners, Track Yuuka and Track Mari, as well as a new unlimited unit in the form of Tracksuit Haruna. So, here is a not so short this time review of all three banner units. Let's kick things off with our local food terrorist Tracksuit Haruna, who is the game's third Sonic student and is surprisingly the second student to get a third alt. Other than food crimes, she has also committed the crime of being an actual succubus, tempting us in by looking smoking hot in that tracksuit and tormenting every Sensei's binner. She is a special Sonic healer who is excellent in urban terrains, presumably because there are a lot of restaurants to blow up in the city, average in field and bad in indoors. She uses this set of equipment, which is pretty standard for a healer, with the necklace being particularly important because it increases her healing power. For Track Haruna's 3-cost EX skill, she moves up to 4 allies within a circular area to a chosen location, then restores a percentage of their HP based on her healing stat. Every 40 seconds, she deals damage to 6 enemies with her basic skill, while decreasing their defense for 20 seconds. Her enhanced skill increases her healing, and her sub-skill ups her allies' attack. Meanwhile, at UE 40, she gains even more healing on her enhanced plus, and at UE 50, her urban mood improves to SS. While Track Haruna is one of the game's few Sonic students, her attack type doesn't actually matter, since she is a special healer. Unfortunately, however, she kinda sucks as a healer, due to her very low healing values, thus she is outshone by other proper healers. Instead, her main utility lies in her ability to reposition your units with her EX, as it is quite decent, especially since it is cheap at only 3 costs. Thus, even though there are other repositioning units like Track Yuuka or Swimsuit Shizuko, Track Haruna can be used as a decent backup student if you've run out of options in content that require repositioners, such as the Shirokuro raid to dodge the snowballs and park rides, or gauze where you need to move your students out of the way of the train and to place them in front of the real gauze. Plus, she can heal your students as an added bonus, as little as those heals may be. Finally, she can also apply a tiny defense debuff through her basic skill, with the emphasis on tiny because her defense shred is very little, at only 11% at max level. While defense debuffs are always nice to have, hers is very low to even count for anything. But if you absolutely have to, you can still use her defense break for raids like Pararodzilla, where she can damage the Pararos while shredding a bit of his high defense. But she should only be a backup option, cause come on, there are so many other units who have higher defense shred values that you can use. Overall, in terms of gameplay, I would personally advise you to skip Track Haruna, as she isn't a good healer and is very much outclassed by other healers who have higher healing values. Not only that, while her repositioning ability is good and cheap, you can honestly rely on other repositioners instead, especially with one of the best repos being the featured banner alongside hers. Also, again, do not be fooled to pull her just cause of her Sonic attack type, as remember that since she is a special healer and repo, her attack type doesn't actually matter. But if you're in desperate need of a repo student or a healer for some reason, then go ahead and pull for her. Or you could also pull for her if she's your waifu, and let me tell ya, Haruna bros are winning, cause she looks so cute and sexy in that tracksuit. Plus her L2D is just a perfect blend of adorable and spicy. That smile can cure my depression, but tempting us with those swaying badonkadonks and trying to feed us candy that she's been licking using her tongue, looks like Sensei's got a lot of correction to do all night long. Now we move on to the limited units, starting with our cute calculator wife, Track Yuuka, whose 100 kg thighs are on full fucking display, and I'm sure a lot of us senseis want our face buried beneath them. Track Yuuka is a mystic tank who has special armor, and her terrain moods are as follows: B in urban, D in field, and S in indoors. She uses the same set of equipment as Track Haruna, with the boots and bag giving her health and defense stats, which is needed for a tank unit. And the necklace provides extra healing stats, which greatly helps with her barrier's health. Speaking of which, Track Yuuka's 3-cost EX skill allows her to reposition to a designated location while gaining a barrier for 25 seconds, where she then moves 3 other allies to that position, casting the same barrier for them, which lasts for 25 seconds as well, with these barriers' HP based off a percentage of her healing. Also, look at that damn robot, lucky bastard. It should have been me getting hugged by Yuuka, not him. For her basic skill, if Yuuka does not have a shield, she gains 1 every 30 seconds, which lasts for 23 seconds. But if she already has a shield, she increases her healing for 90 seconds instead, with this increased healing effect being able to stack up to 3 times. Her enhanced skill boosts her attack speed, and with her sub-skill, whenever Yuuka stops moving, she increases her mystic effectiveness. She also gains extra healing on her enhanced skill plus at UE 40, and her indoor combat power upgrades from S to SS at UE 50. Track Yuuka is an extremely useful unit, as she acts as a tank, repositioner, and shielder all in one, and she's bloody good at what she does. Firstly, Track Yuuka is one of the best shielders in the game, as she is able to provide your units with strong beefy shields for the low cost of 3, and in my opinion, this is her best feature, as she improves their survivability by a lot, something which is needed especially in high-end content. These shields can be made even stronger with her basic skill, as her healing is increased for a whole 90 seconds if she doesn't already have a barrier, with this effect stacking up to 3 times. And since her shield's health is based off a percentage of her healing stat, this can subsequently strengthen the next bunch of shields she applies. Not only that, at UE 40, she gains even more healing, thus allowing her barriers to be extra powerful. So with her basic skill and enhanced skill plus, she is able to become an even better shielder, since she can increase your team's survivability. Track Yuuka is also an excellent repo, as her EX's range is pretty wide, and she can easily move your units out of danger. On top of all those, she is pretty tanky as well, and is able to take even more hits if she has her own shield. Finally, she can also deal quite decent damage, especially with her sub-skill, which allows her to dish out not bad blue AA damage if she isn't moving. All these allow Track Yuuka to be usable in a lot of PvE content, mainly due to her ability to provide bulky shields, which is extremely useful in keeping your students alive, especially in high-end content like raids. She primarily sees a lot of use in the Gauss and Shirokuro raids. For Gauss, she can reposition your units out of the path of the train in phase 1, as well as bring your team closer to the real Gauss, so that they can concentrate fire on him. She can also protect your units from Gauss's hard-hitting attacks with her beefy shields. Meanwhile, for Shirokuro, not only can she repo your units out of danger by avoiding these snowballs and park rides, Track Yuuka, or shielders in general, are great for this raid, as you can't use healers on Insane or Torment Shirokuro, due to the permanent recovery down debuff. Thus, strong shielders like Track Yuuka are needed in order to withstand their attacks. Other than that, Track Yuuka can also be used in Bina and Hieronymus. Overall, in my personal opinion, I would list Track Yuuka as a must-pull student, cause for one, she's limited, and two, she is very versatile as you can literally use her in almost any PvE content, as she ensures your students' survivability, especially in higher difficulty stuff, with her tankiness, shields, and repositioning abilities. Not just that, she also allows for more team composition, as she takes up 3 roles at once, letting you place other units such as more DPS students or buffers in your team. You could also pull for her if she's your waifu, and I know there are tons of Yuuka enjoyers out there. If you do decide to pull for her, remember that you don't have to get her to UE 40 even though she gets more healing, as 3 to 5 star Track Yuuka is fine. On the other hand, I feel that the only reasons to not pull for her are if you already have her, or you are able to borrow her, and you want to save for other limited units instead. Just remember, by skipping our cute calculator wife, you're missing out on this adorable L2D. I mean, look at how shy she gets when I pet her, and combined with that little star on her face, she's one of the cutest things I've ever seen in my life. But my question is, how can she run with those 100 kg ties weighing her down? The next limited unit is Tracksuit Mari, or Cat Hop, or Kotomine Mari, and seeing how adorable, readable, and wholesome she looks in that tracksuit, y'all know what to do, boys. Whoa! Pat, 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 get happy, get happy, get happy! She is a Mystic Striker healer who has special armor and is one of the 4 Striker healers in the game. She also has the same terrain moods as Track Yuuka and has a pretty similar equipment set as well, though the difference is Track Mari uses pin instead of bag. With her 3-cost EX skill, Track Mari is surrounded by people wanting Mari Sweat, Mari Holy Water, as she heals allies in a circular area around her, excluding herself. For her basic skill, she restores the HP of both her and the ally with the highest defense, while also increasing both their defense for 40 seconds. She increases her own healing with her enhanced skill, and with her sub skill, whenever an ally whose HP is lower than 30% is healed by Mari's EX or basic skill, they receive additional healing. At UE 40, she gains additional defense on her enhanced skill plus, and at UE 50, her indoor combat power is converted from S to SS. Track Mari is a really good healer, mainly due to the fact that she has a ton of healing from her skills, and can provide a lot of HP recovery, ensuring your student's survivability. However, she faces a couple of drawbacks. Firstly, she doesn't heal herself with her EX, meaning that her chances of surviving can get pretty low, and she may be the first unit to die. While she does heal herself with her basic skill, it can be pretty unreliable compared to being able to heal herself with her EX, since you need to wait for a whole 45 seconds for it to proc, and Track Mari might already be dead by the time it activates. Speaking of which, her second problem lies with her basic skill, specifically its mechanic of healing the unit with the highest defense, as it means that if one of your students desperately needs heals but they don't have the highest defense in the team, then Mari's basic skill won't heal them, but rather it will target the unit with the highest defense, who might not need healing at that moment. Lastly, Track Mari can be quite complicated to use, especially if you're a new player. She isn't as simple to utilize like Kokona and Koharu, whose EXs are easier to employ at any time. Instead, with Track Mari, you need to take her positioning into consideration, since her EX's range is centered around her. Hence, she needs to be in a position where she is able to heal all your units. Moreover, like I previously said, you also need to take into account the fact that she cannot heal herself with her EX, and that her basic skill is very finicky as it can heal the wrong student, which is why she isn't exactly a beginner-friendly healer. But regardless of all that, Track Mari is still an excellent healer since she has very high healing numbers, and as such, she can be generally used in a lot of content. For example, missions, scrimmages, or joint firing drills that have these scarecrow things that you need to heal. However, similar to the other striker healers, her main use lies against Hieronymus, where she is an essential unit on Insane and Torment difficulties. Her primary role in this raid is to obviously keep your students alive, but more importantly, to heal the urn. While 3 to 4 star Track Mari is sufficient on lower difficulties, in Insane and Torment, you would ideally need her to be at least 5 star UE 30 since it allows her to fully heal the urn, even when it has the recovery down debuff. Not to mention, she has blue armor, which takes less damage from Hyro's raid attack on Insane and Torment, meaning that she won't die as quickly. Thus, all these make Track Mari an excellent unit to use in Hieronymus, especially in the higher difficulties. Though I wonder how viable she is now in Hyro, with the introduction of the Dress Hina strat, which favors Kokona more, and it can literally one-team Torment to the point where doing Torment doesn't guarantee Platinum rank. But despite that, she is still a good unit to use if you can't do the Dress Hina strategy. Overall, I would advise you to pull for Track Mari if you don't have her and you have a good supply of Pyroxenes, since she is limited, but you can also pull for her for the following reasons. You love our cute innocent cat nun, you don't have any of the striker healers and you want one, you are somehow in desperate need of a healer, or you want to compete in Hieronymus. Though keep in mind that you will need her to be minimum 5 star UE 30 if you really want to challenge Torment Hyro, cause while you could probably get away with using a 3 to 4 star T Mari in Insane, you definitely need her 5 star version in Torment. since her ability to fully heal the urn will greatly help in defeating Hyro faster, since he gains a damage incoming debuff every time the urn is completely healed, thus earning you a higher score. Not only that, even if you already have her, you could still pull if you want more of her Alefs to upgrade her to 5 star. Though keep in mind that you can get her Alefs through the expert permit shop, but if and only if you have obtained her before. Otherwise, you can skip this banner if you own her and you don't really care about Hyro, you have other striker healers like Kokona and Koharu, or you're saving for other upcoming limited characters. Plus, I personally believe that she isn't as important as track Yuuka, who should be your priority instead in terms of gameplay. But remember, if you skip her, you're missing out on a limited unit, as well as this amazing L2D, which highlights her adorableness, and it's accompanied by this banger OST. God, I want to lick her sweat so much. And that's all for this week's review. All in all, gameplay wise, I would suggest pulling for track Yuuka and track Mari, as they are both limited and great units, especially our calculator wife. However, if you already have one of them, you can pull for the other instead. Or if you previously pulled for them, you can opt to skip their banners and save for Kasumi and Ichika next week, or any other future banners. Unless of course, you want to get more of their Alefs. As for track Haruna, I would suggest skipping her since she is overshadowed by other healers and repos. But if you need a backup repo, or if you're down bad for her like I am, you can definitely pull her. In any case, all 3 units have amazing L2Ds in my opinion, and in a way, you could say it's worth getting them just for their L2Ds. Also, I'm sorry that I couldn't include track Hasumi in this video, as I made the mistake of yapping about the other units for too long, which I also apologize for, and I will try to keep my reviews much shorter next time. But if you wanna know about track Hasumi, I will leave my TLDR thoughts on her in the pinned comment below. That's all from me, let me know who you'll be pulling for, and I'll see y'all in the next one.